What's up everybody, Arrg the Pirate here, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite heroes, Jungle Crunch. Crunch is a hero that I typically don't see very often. I think he's a great hero whether you're playing him off lane or in the jungle. Since the version 40 patch though, he is not as easy to play in the jungle as he once was. Crunch does not have a built-in sustain mechanic, so building a siphon at the beginning of the match is critical to keep Crunch in the jungle. Now if you notice in this clip here, I stay in the jungle like I typically do. I get the first two camps and then I'm going to go for the green. Now if you watch, since I don't have any sustain mechanic, I'm going to go for this green buff like I typically do, and I'm actually not even able to down the two little minions, let alone the big one. Now as I said before, kiting with Crunch is very clunky and hard to do because he really is not able to go back and forth just because he's so big. Now having these careless deaths at the beginning of a round as a jungle hero makes it very hard for your team. Not only are you not getting ganks, but you're missing out on critical jungle farm. But luckily, I expected to die right there. I was just kind of doing this for the video. So we will go ahead and get this green buff, and then I'm going to rotate and try to get a gank. I carelessly picked up my right Crunch instead of getting my forward Crunch, which is really going to hinder my ganking abilities, especially in this early game. But after getting green buff, I go ahead and rotate down. I notice that they've already gotten the river buff, so I'm just kind of going, hey, what am I going to do? I don't have my forward Crunch, I can't really provide a decent gank, and I don't want to waste this green buff, so I go ahead and clean out a river camp. Wukong is needing some help on the off lane, so I go ahead and head over there. They ended up trying to get a gank off on him. I'm able to hold them off for a little bit, but so far I've played very carelessly with this Crunch. Now there's really little I can offer but to just stand there and die, so I'm going to let them, kind of get a little more damage on the tower while I clean up this camp and hopefully hit level 3 so I can get my forward Crunch. Now the first real card that I want to get is a Thunder Cleaver. And I've got 2 points. I really need to head back. Although I do have one healing potion, I'm getting low on mana, and it's probably better for me to just retreat and come back fresh. Now I don't want to waste these 2 points, so I go ahead and pick up a healing token. Although this isn't going to provide much because I am a jungler and I'm going to be taking damage instead of just getting poke damage from heroes. I've really kind of let my team down in this beginning game by, messing up my build. I did have that early death, but, that early death, no one got the kill, no one got the CXP for it. That's completely fine. But the whole fact of not getting my abilities in order and not being able to utilize my green buff really hurt my team. Now it's about 10 minutes later. This has been a very uneventful match. We've had a couple of towers go down. We've downed one of their towers and almost got their tier 1 on our off lane. And I see this phase kind of pushed up and a Morgesh right there. I'm going to go ahead and try to get an engage on her. Unfortunately, I didn't realize our Morgesh was so low, but I end up taking out this phase at the cost of my life. And unfortunately, Morgesh stayed in and she ended up going down too. I am in a party with my offlaner, but we have not had any real communication with any of the other heroes. No one's really listening to commands. Our Decker and Yin took very long time to down that first tower, and so we've really struggled making any sort of progress. But here shortly, things start to kind of turn around when our team gets a little more fed, and we're really gonna start working together as a team. Now at 17 minutes, I've got a complete Thunder Cleaver and a complete Adamant Edge with a 4-point Adamant Edge as well. And I'm really starting to be able to do some damage, get some wave clear, and really get farm on these minion camps here in the jungle. Now I head down our mid lane to kind of see what's going on. Decker was there really by herself, and then Yin showed up with my green buff, and we're kind of just making a little progress. I noticed this Fang out by himself. I'm able to go in on him and hopefully get some rotation from our teammates. Fortunately, their Chimera showed up. I'm able to use my forward crunch to get out of there, but our Yin went ahead and engaged on that. So I'm able to get back around, and we end up securing one kill with this 4-man rotation we had. Now their phase is using tainted magic, and although she's still not a major threat, she does extremely high poke damage for just a regular support character. This is something to keep in mind when you're really engaging with her at all. By spraying the whole team and a minion wave with her lance, this actually does a substantial amount of damage for an ability that really does no damage at all. This is just always something to keep in mind if you are ever dealing with a phase that has tainted magic. Now a few minutes later, this is where the game really starts to turn around. I'm in comms with my offlaner still, and I tell him, hey, we need to start making plays, we need to make something happen. We're really not making any progress, we're constantly on the defense. We either need to go out and get a crazy pick that they're not expecting, or we need to just stay in a lane and really just push one single lane. So I pick up green buff, he rotates to mid, and we end up going in on this Bellica. Yin was able to secure the kill, and their phase actually rotated over, so we immediately say, hey, let's get this phase and then maybe we can make some progress. She tried to escape, she ended up ulting Revenant, and they run away. Revenant actually ended up ulting me and getting the kill on me, but I know my full team's here, so they're going to be able to clean this up, and we really make a lot of progress here, and we're able to secure quite a few kills, and I believe we end up even getting a team wipe throughout this entire engagement. And this is what really kind of started our snowball effect, and we're able to push a lane and really get some nice damage on some towers. This just goes to show you as well that even though you start out very rocky in the beginning, you can turn a game around with just one good team fight. Which this was kind of a very strange team fight, you know, the front line went down right away. But I was able to really get some damage on, you know, a couple of heroes that allowed my team to get in there. And by forcing Rev to use his ultimate on me and take that extra damage that I was able to do with my green buff and, you know, my few attacks, even though I was out of mana, you know, we were able to turn this completely around and get some damage on some tier 2s. Revenant's pushed up fairly far in our off lane, and I start cycling over there, and Chimera actually goes to help him out. He ends up getting our Wukong, then our Morgesh ends up taking out Rev, and it's just me and Chimera, both with green buff, but luckily his got taken away from him before me. Unfortunately though, their phase was able to pull him out and got away with that. And then somehow Decker was able to kill their Revenant, which is amazing on its own. Now, our support has really kind of played a lot by herself this game, and unfortunately, she's not making just the best decisions. Like, for instance, right there where she was almost dead, she should have backed a lot further away than where she actually decided to back. Luckily, I was able to secure this Bellica, which a support for a caster is a great win in my book any day, and we're able to push this mid lane. Unfortunately, I'm out of mana, but we have river buffs up, so I'm able to secure them and get my mana back, and we can continue putting pressure. Now, I'd really like to get some damage done to this tier 2 mid lane tower, and I have black buff, so I'm going to be able to put some damage out. I see this Fang is very low, so I'm going to maybe circle around to get a gank on him. And then I see Rev head up, so I'm just going to run in, and then their Chimera shows up, so I'm going to get him out. He's the healthiest hero. My black buff was able to do its job. I get out safely, and I'm able to recall while my team keeps pressure on that mid-tier 2. At 32 minutes in, I start switching into my more tankier build. I'm able to get a tuned barrier online and get some basic armor, as well as start building some health to where I can really sustain quite a bit more damage. Now, their Chimera is building very, very tanky and with quite a bit of attack speed, so he's got a lot of sustain and just tons of health with armor. So he's going to be an issue that, you know, kind of really gets in your face, and you're going to have to deal with him just because he's going to just stay on you doing damage with his ambush and his ultimate. Unfortunately, Decker and our Yin have been out of position quite a bit in this game. Yin actually goes down right here. I was running over to help body block and just kind of get everybody out. I should have left when she died, but I saw Decker struggling, and I said, hey, I'm going to maybe try to get her out, and I actually end up going down. So I would have rather them had the support kill than a jungler, but luckily our offlaner was out pushing lanes while there was this huge team fight in the middle, and we really started changing how this game was going. Now, if you notice, I did type to our Yin, you know, can you all please stop getting out of positions, please? When dealing with issues like that, it's very easy for people to get salty, and I've noticed that if you're really polite and, you know, say please a bunch, people don't quite get as upset when, you know, you're trying to say, hey, you know, this would go a lot smoother if you weren't constantly pushed up to their tier 2s without any wards. You know, and you never want to, you know, actually insult people. Just say, hey, can y'all guys, you know, try to watch your positioning. And I've noticed that really helps, you know, kind of get rid of some of the tension when you are trying to correct someone's behavior. A few minutes later, we end up going for Prime, getting it secured, and then we just simply pushed down lanes and ended this game. This was more of a sloppy game on not only my part, but my whole team's part. We really did not play as a team until it was almost too late. Their team was very fed way before ours was, and it took a while for us to catch up to that point. Luckily, you know, we had our lanes pushing fairly decently, and our Wukong was going down their only lane that was pushed, so we were able to secure this Prime with very little, you know, interference from the other team. They did come over, but we ended up just picking up Prime and then ending up, you know, getting almost a full team wipe just right here after we picked up Prime. And yeah, this really ended the game for them. Well, as this match wraps up, I just want to use this opportunity. You know, I didn't upload the nicest gameplay of me just destroying with Crunch. I really had an off game. I'd just like to say, hey, you know, just because you're having a bad game and you're 15 minutes in and your team isn't playing well together, if you stick with it, you know, you can turn out like we did here. You know, we got a team wipe, got Prime at 41 minutes, and we were able to just really push down lanes. We got a couple of inhibs and down this core. As always, thank you all for watching. I know this was not the nicest and prettiest game I've ever played, but that was one reason I wanted to upload it, just to show you, you know, hey, if you keep your head on your shoulders and don't get too upset and really just try to play the objectives, you can win this game, even if your team is not, you know, playing very well together. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love, leave me a comment, let me know if I can improve on anything, and I'll see all of you in the next video.